Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Uzumaki anime on Toonami. And I didn't really like this. Now, I was just checking this out. I've been recommended stuff by Junji Ito. Doesn't really fit for me, but I was just going to check it out because Toonami had made a big kind of thing about it. And I just don't think Junji Ito's works are for me. Now, I don't think this is a good adaptation and not a really good one to kind of like judge it by either. Like, I don't think the adaptation's done very well at all. I wouldn't recommend this to people trying to get into Junji Ito's works, and I don't recommend it to people who are fans of Junji Ito's works because I don't know what happened here. I don't think, like, even since I'm not really that well versed with the source material, I don't know if this is a good adaptation or not. Of that kind of stuff, it feels kind of rushed, kind of all over the place. 4 episodes doesn't seem to really be enough for what's kind of going on. And it just, if you're a fan of it, I don't think you're going to be very pleased with it. If you're trying to get into it, I don't think it's a very good representation either. Like, this has been in hell. There's been production issues and stuff. It's all over the place. Never mind the fact that they decided to do a staggered thing where it would premiere in Japanese with English subtitles, which those subtitles are then in black and white as the anime is in black and white, so good luck reading it. Even though on the bumps for showing off the episodes, they were showed with yellow subtitles, which would have made reading it a lot easier. And then doing the dub. I did not watch the dub. I watched the sub one because I had already watched it at that point and I didn't give a shit, to be honest with you. I was like, alright, because when I saw the first episode, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not really that much into it, but it's got really good animation. People who are into the work probably will really like it. 2 through 4 was like, what the fucking shit. Horrible animation shit that would like pop up. Because there's like social media post by like Jason DeMarco or whatnot talking about like our options were either just to show the first episode, not show it at all, or show the whole thing, and they decided to show the whole thing. And I'm like, I almost would have just let you just do the kind of first episode because great animation quality, really shows the freakiness and everything going on with the spirals in the town and everything like that, and Kyrie and Shoichi's kind of shit that they're kind of going on and dealing with. It just seemed more kind of random to me. I understand it goes more and is inspired by Lovecraftian kind of shit, but it just, the spiral curse doesn't really get anything understanding-wise of what's kind of going on. I kind of echo stuff that like you're stuck in like a small town and stuff, and people transforming and changing into different kind of stuff randomly, willy-nilly. This one chick getting a spiral in her forehead, sucking in this other kind of dude, and then sucking herself in. Kyrie having her hair go kind of crazy before Shoichi like cuts it off. Shoichi's father being kind of like the first dude turning himself into a spiral, getting cremated, and then being a spiral thing in the sky that freaks out his mother, and then her getting this whole kind of phobia thing against spirals, and then pretty much killing herself. Or dying because of like everything kind of going on. We get people turning into snails, which doesn't really make much. Well, the one dude was slow, and he turned into a snail. And then the bully turned into a snail as well. And then they fucked, and they made snail people eggs. And then the teacher crushed those snail people eggs, and then he became a snail as well. It didn't make much sense. I mean, evidently this curse just permeates and does like body horror throughout the whole kind of thing. And I was like, alright. I didn't care about the characters because it turns into pretty much a body factory at this point. Everything's kind of cannon fodder. You don't really connect with these characters really that much, and you don't really care. That kind of is like a double-edged sword because there's not much time to like breathe and develop and make these characters. So that's kind of what's kind of going on as well. It's like really kind of fast-paced. Kyrie and Shoichi are the ones that get pretty much the most development. The town pretty much goes to hell as nobody's able to escape. Typhoons start just like beating the shit out of the place. Then you could barely move really fast without making like whirlwinds and shit happen, and then if you stay too still, you become snail person before you find out that there's this weird spiral thing under the town that does this kind of curse thing, and it's always kind of going on and always kind of repeating. And we pretty much see Kiria and Soichi kind of fall down and get like tangled up and spiral out, and they die. It's like, alright, it just keeps continuing. Alright. I'm not really freaked out, I'm not really afraid, I'm not really grossed out by any of this stuff. I'm just kind of uninterested. And I would have just been alright if like, oh, okay. The first episode, but the animation quality, I mean, look up like the second episode, the running scene, it's horrendous. And like the choice to put white lettering on like the white background, it's like, why would you do this? There had to have been a better way to do that for like people doing the subtitle thing, and I just did not care enough to be like, alright, in order to not deal with this, I'd want to listen to this in the English dub. I just didn't care. I didn't really connect with the characters, well, except for like Kiria and Soichi just trying to get out of the town. I get that, but it just like an unstoppable force, and they've got nothing that they can do about it. I mean, we see crazy ass things. We see pregnant ladies turning into pretty much mosquito people, and the babies being born with like mushroom shit. It's like, what the fucking shit? People tweaking out, people trying to like cover the town and getting sucked into the town, and all the different kind of stuff. It's like, and time going kind of crazy, but it's just going so fast and at such a clip and such a pace that you're just like, alright, what other kind of crazy thing's going to happen now? Before we get to the end, it's like, oh, it just keeps repeating and everything. It's like, alright. I don't know what I'm supposed to learn from this, other than like, oh, the inevitability, there are things that are out of control and you're an insignificant speck. It's like, okay. I kind of have people saying that and trying to get that done throughout most kind of stuff, and it just is done or executed in such a way that I could not give a fuck. That's not the kind of stories that I'm into. So, pretty much on that kind of thing, the story's not for me. The characters, alright, there's only like 2 that are really pretty much there. And even if you're into Junji Ito and this story and everything, I don't think this is a good thing. The thumbs down isn't really much of... Because with my kind of system, I just do it so that way thumbnail so that people get a general idea of what's kind of going on. My main thing is, I think that 4 episodes doesn't really work for this. I also don't think the animation quality is really good, and it really doesn't really sell the kind of body horror and everything to really kind of freak you out, except for the first episode. That's the only one. There's certain kind of flashes of almost kind of stuff like that in the last episode, but not really enough for me to be like, yeah, go out and watch this. If you're into Junji Ito's work and into Uzumaki, I would say find some other kind of stuff. I don't know what other kind of adaptations there are. Just go for something kind of different. This really wasn't for me. If this was for you and worked for you, I'm happy for you. Ignore my ass. This doesn't resonate with me whatsoever, and I'm just like, wow, okay. But I'm glad that I watched it to be like, yeah, this stuff doesn't work for me, I'm cool, I'm out. So, it's mainly the adaptation that I'm reviewing here, more so than the kind of work, because this is the only experience that I've had with the work like this, and it just doesn't. It really doesn't delve much into the world and the lore and the world building and any of the kind of characters. It just goes too fast, and I'm like, okay, this is why when you're doing certain kind of limited episodes like this, you have to watch out what you're doing. Otherwise, the story's going to be going at too fast of a pace, and you're just going to be like, why am I watching this? Because you won't have enough time to dig into this stuff. And I'm into plot, I'm into world building, I'm into characters. the action was just like, oh god. Like, there was this one dude that was pretty much like a jack-in-the-box that just, I know it was supposed to be more horrendous. I even looked up a thing that showed the kind of difference between the art style in the manga versus this, and it's like, holy shit. One's completely different. Like, this was just like, wow, in animation form, it just wasn't scary at all. I was like, alright. Because I've already been introduced that, like, crazy ass shit's going on. Everybody's transforming into shit, so I'm like, alright. It'll just happen, and it'll happen based on whatever fucking shit rules plot demands it. And the thing is, I don't know if that's how it is in the Junji Ito story. To me, this, with how this was adapted, it's more like the plot demands certain kind of things to happen because they need to happen. Yeah. So, I really didn't enjoy this, and I really wouldn't recommend this to people who are attempting to look into Junji Ito's work or are really into Junji Ito's work. I think you could probably find better stuff in other kind of places. Well, ain't that different? Normally you don't do that shit for me. Weird-ass notification. So, those are my opinions on the anime. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.